Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
I remember the way Lissa's little hands trembled when she held her glass jar of coins and folded bills. She had been saving for 5 years, since she was 4, dropping in every birthday bill, every allowance dollar. By 9, she had more patience and discipline than most adults I knew. That jar was her pride, her treasure, her dream of one day buying a telescope to look at stars with you, Mom. But one morning, when I found her crouched in the corner of her room with empty fingers and tear-stained cheeks, the world shifted. "Mom, it's gone," she whispered. "The jar's empty. Did I do something wrong?" The way her eyes searched mine, as if begging for forgiveness for something she never did, split me in two. My heart pounded in my ears. I searched every corner of her room, every shelf, but there was no mistake. The jar had been raided. At first, I thought maybe I had misplaced it. Maybe she had hidden it for safety. But then Harris's smug grin that evening told me otherwise. He fluttered into our shared home for 2 families with a brand new gaming laptop tucked under his arm and a shiny phone in his son's hand. "Oh, I finally upgraded," he announced with a laugh. "About time, right?" My stomach nodded. The numbers ran through my head. The exact price range of those items. Lisa's jar. Lisa's 5 years of saving. "Where did you get the money?" I asked quietly, trying to keep my voice from shaking. Harris smirked, leaning back. "Family helps family, Skylar, don't they? Lisa doesn't need a pile of coins lying around. I gave her money a purpose." I froze. My daughter sat across the table, shoulders hunched, lips pressed tight, as if swallowing her shame. She wouldn't look at me. Instead, she stared at her plate, cheeks red, and for the first time, I saw her spark dim. And I knew this wasn't just theft. This was betrayal. That night, as I tucked Lisa into bed, she whispered, "Maybe Uncle's right. Maybe I was being selfish." Tears burned my eyes. My little girl was blaming herself for her uncle's greed. And I promised myself, right then, that no one would dim her light again. The following weekend, we gathered at my parents' house for Sunday dinner. The long oak table was heavy with roasted meats, bowls of steaming potatoes, and the weight of old traditions. Lisa sat beside me, her fork barely moving. I tried to coax a smile from her, but she stayed small, folded into herself. Harris arrived last, swaggering in as though he were the hero of the evening. He dropped his sleek new laptop case onto the chair beside him, making sure everyone noticed. His son clutched the new phone like a trophy. "Look at these beauties," Harris announced, sliding the laptop open so its screen glowed across the table. "Hard work pays off, doesn't it?" My father chuckled, clapping him on the back. "That's my boy finally investing in himself." I clenched my napkin beneath the table. Hard work? My daughter's 5 years of sacrifice paraded as his triumph. Then, with a flourish, Harris pulled out a small package wrapped in bright paper. "And for Lisa," he said loudly, handing it across the table, "because I'm the fun uncle." Lisa unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a flimsy plastic face mask, pink and distorted, painted to look like an ugly cartoon girl. The table erupted with laughter. "What a joke," my mother exclaimed. But Lisa's face crumpled. She pressed the mask to her lap, silent, her cheeks wet. I reached for her hand, but she pulled away, curling inward. "Don't be so sensitive," Harris teased. "It's just a gag gift." I wanted to scream, to slam my fists against the table. Instead, I sat in a storm of silence, holding back the tears that burned my eyes, because my daughter's dignity had just been bought and mocked with her own stolen savings. That night, as we drove home, Lisa whispered, "Why does everyone laugh when I feel like crying?" Her words carved into me like a blade. The cracks had widened. Soon, they would break open. The morning after that dinner, I stood by Lisa's door, listening to the quiet scratch of her pencil. She was drawing stars on scrap paper, her dream of a telescope still alive but dimmed. My chest tightened. How could I let anyone make her believe her dreams were foolish? I picked up the phone and dialed Harris. My voice shook, but it was steel underneath. "Harris, we need to talk. You owe Lisa $1,720. You stole her savings and you will apologize to her face." He laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. "Stole? Skylar, don't be dramatic. It's just money. I used it better than she ever could. She's a child. My hands trembled. She's a child who believed in herself. And you crushed that. Do you have any idea what you've done? His tone shifted, defensive. You've always thought you were better than me. You hoard money, act like a savior. Maybe if you supported me properly, I wouldn't have to borrow. The word borrow made my vision blur with fury. 5 years of my daughter's discipline wasn't a loan for his indulgence. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. No more, Harris. I've covered your rent, your debts. I even set aside $34,000 for you to study hotel and tourism management in Italy. But it ends today. Every dollar is gone. I will never fund your greed again. The line went silent. Then came his hiss. You'll regret this. I hung up, tears streaming down my cheeks, my whole body trembling. But when I turned, Lisa was in the doorway, eyes wide. Mom, you stood up for me, she whispered. I knelt, pulling her close. Always. No one takes from you again, Lisa. Not while I breathe. Her tears mixed with mine, but for the first time, I saw a spark return to rise. And I knew. This was the moment the war within my family had truly begun. It didn't take long before the storm arrived. The phone rang the next evening, my mother's voice sharp as broken glass. Skylar, how could you humiliate your brother like that? Harris told us everything. You've cut him off? Over a child's piggy bank? I closed my eyes, gripping the receiver. It wasn't just a piggy bank, Mom. It was Lisa's dream, 5 years of sacrifice. He stole from her. My father's voice thundered in the background. Family shares, Skylar. That's what we do. Stop poisoning Lisa with your selfishness. Selfishness. The word twisted like a knife. I swallowed hard, my voice breaking. Selfish is teaching a child that her hard work means nothing. Selfish is humiliating her with her own money. But they wouldn't hear me. You've always looked down on Harris, my mother snapped. You've always had more. And instead of helping, you punish him. Shame on you. Tears burned my eyes. For years I had carried Harris, paid his debts, shielded him from consequences. And now my parents called me cruel. Lisa tugged at my sleeve, whispering, Is Grandma mad at me too? I hugged her close, my chest aching. No, sweetheart, this isn't your fault. It never was. That night I stared at the ceiling, every word from my parents echoing like thunder. The family I had sacrificed for now stood united. Not with me, but against me. For the first time, I felt utterly alone. Yet, as I held Lisa's small hand in mine, I knew the truth. Better alone with my daughter's trust than surrounded by family who would gladly shatter it. The backlash had begun, and I would not bend. Months later, the ripple of Harris' choices caught up with him. Without my financial support, his studies in Italy became impossible and he was expelled. My parents tried to cover his expenses, but their savings drained quickly. His wife, weary of his lies and finally learning of the theft from Lisa, walked out, taking their son with her. One evening, Harris called me. His voice was hoarse, almost broken. Skylar, I lost everything. You were supposed to help me. I closed my eyes, my heart heavy but firm. Help you. I did for years. But you chose greed over family. You chose to steal from a child. I will never help you again, it's over. You are no longer my brother. He hung up without a word. That was the last time I heard his voice. Meanwhile, Lisa blossomed. She started saving again, her jar slowly filling with bills. But this time she carried herself differently, her back straighter, her smile brighter. One night, she whispered as I tucked her in, Mom, I'm going to buy that telescope. And when I do, you'll look at the stars with me, right? Tears filled my eyes. Always Lisa, always. Harris had fallen, but in his ruin, my daughter's light rose higher. And that was the ending I chose to keep.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.